Welcome to Truth Be Told. I'm your host, Tony Sweet, and today we're digging into a topic that shook the world just a year ago and then strangely went quiet. It's been 1 year since the U.S. congressional UFO hearings brought the words non-human biologics into mainstream political discourse. Whistleblowers like David Grush, former military and intelligence insiders, and bipartisan members of Congress demanded answers about unidentified aerial phenomena, or what we now call UAPs. But the question remains, what has changed since those bombshell hearings, and what has quietly disappeared into the shadows? Let's unpack it. In late July 2024, a series of extraordinary congressional hearings were held by the House Oversight Committee. The witnesses, military veterans and intelligence officials, the claims. David Grush, a former intelligence officer, testified under oath that the U.S. has retrieved non-human biologics from crash sites. He claimed that reverse engineering programs for off-world tech have existed outside congressional oversight. Ryan Graves, a former Navy pilot, detailed frequent encounters with unexplained craft off the East Coast. And Commander David Fravor, the pilot behind the now famous Tic Tac UFO sighting, reinforced how advanced and physics-defying these objects were. In short, they claimed the U.S. government has known more than it said, much more, and for decades. The hearings created a firestorm. Social media blew up. Mainstream outlets actually covered UFOs without mockery. Polls showed a spike in public interest and belief. So what happened after? Let's be fair, some real progress was made. 1. Legislative action. The Senate and House introduced UAP Transparency Acts to force government contractors and military agencies to disclose information about legacy crash retrieval programs, but many of these provisions were stripped from final versions of the National Defense Authorization Act. 2. NASA and the Pentagon. NASA launched an independent UAP study, and the Pentagon's AARO, All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, released a public-facing website. They promised transparency, claiming to be cataloging over 800 UAP cases. 3. Public attitude shift. There's a growing mainstream consensus that something is going on. Harvard astronomers, former CIA officers, and even ex-presidents have called for more transparency. So yes, we've seen some cultural and bureaucratic movement, but here's the thing. The most explosive claims, buried or ignored. 1. The whistleblower silenced. Since the hearings, David Grush has largely gone dark. Interviews were limited. Requests for classified briefings have been stalled. Grush admitted he couldn't share much without violating security oaths, but no official effort has been made to validate or disprove his claims. 2. Black budget projects still hidden. The alleged existence of secretive special access programs operating beyond oversight and with billions in untraceable funding remains unacknowledged. These are programs said to house reverse engineering of off-world technology. 3. Media drop-off. After initial coverage, most mainstream outlets dropped the story. No follow-up on leads, no deep dives. The narrative cooled, intentionally or not. 4. Legislative gutting. As I mentioned, key parts of the UAP Disclosure Act, like the UFO Crash Retrieval Program Declassification Clause, were stripped at the last minute. That's not an accident. That's coordinated. Let's talk about the elephant in the galaxy. Why are these revelations being stalled or buried? Power and control. Whoever holds the tech holds power. Reverse engineering propulsion systems or energy sources from non-human craft would be worth trillions. And some factions want to keep that secret. Panic or paradigm shift. Governments may fear that full disclosure could lead to social, religious, or economic instability. Legal ramifications. If it's true that crash retrievals and cover-ups have spanned decades, there would be massive legal implications, violations of oversight, illegal funding, even harm to whistleblowers. Truth too big to handle. Some suggest disclosure is being done in slow doses to condition the public, what some call climatization. So, where do we go from here? Keep your eye on these. The AARO public reports. Are they actually increasing in detail or still vague? Upcoming NASA updates. Will they challenge or support the military's findings? Independent journalism, outlets like The Debrief, Liberation Times, and Vice are digging deeper. 2026 elections. UAP transparency is becoming a bipartisan issue. Expect pressure from both the public and politicians. Here's the truth. We are in the middle of a slow motion disclosure movement. And if you're not paying attention, you might miss it. 1 year after the hearings, we've seen breadcrumbs, but not the loaf. We've heard rumors, but not admissions. And while the walls of secrecy are cracking, the full truth remains in the shadows. But the fact that Congress even held those hearings shows we've entered a new era. So keep watching the skies. But more importantly, follow the silence. What isn't said is often the biggest clue of all. I'm Tony Sweet, and this has been Truth Be Told. If today's show made you think twice, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who still thinks UFOs are just science fiction. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay aware.